ahead and get started. And if there's anybody who joins late, we'll catch them up, and we'll be recording as well. So Jesse, I don't know if you want to go ahead and kick off the recording while I get my screen sorted. We're rolling. All right, so everybody, it is being recorded, so don't talk too bad about Chris.
Whoa. Can we do it if we don't specify which Chris?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, so hopefully folks can see my screen, and hopefully they see the COVID stuff. Maybe. All right, awesome. So thanks so much, guys, for joining us. We are really excited to get started with the second half of our season. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to read the awesome storyboard that Chris sent out. If not, I highly recommend reading that, because that is going to set the tone a little bit for the second half of the season, and we'll go into more with that in a little bit. But before that, we have a couple of other things we want to talk about first. The first being updated health and COVID safety policies. So as I'm sure all of you guys are familiar with, we do have a vaccination requirement, and we are keeping that. However, we are dropping the tests on Friday. So no longer have to send us in your lovely negative COVID tests the day of the event. So if you want to read through the updated COVID-19 safety policy, Jesse posted that as one of the links ahead. But that is the big change. So I'll pause there. Does anyone have any questions about that? Awesome. Jesse, did I forget anything about that?
Nothing, except we reserve the right to reinstitute testing if we start having outbreaks. But for now, given that they are no longer free from the government and insurance companies are dropping them, we're trying to take that financial burden away.
That's a pretty important addition. Thank you for adding that. All right. Daryl, do you want to do systems or rules next?
Systems is all Jesse, so I'm fine to do rules, or she can go to systems. Either way, it's fine for me.
All right, let's do systems. Now the real question is, did it change to the systems, or do I need to change my screen share?
You're good. At least on my screen, you're good. Yeah, you're fine.
Awesome. Jesse, take it away.
Okay. Not a lot here, except that we do, and sorry to make you guys do this again, but we have a new Code of Conduct and Liability waiver, and so we need everybody to re-sign that, even if you signed at the beginning of this season. We'd appreciate new submissions to that. Also, there's a blurb about the COVID policy changes, and then just another quick mention about the changes we made to volunteer tracking. And we are going to be adding a second tablet in the tavern for that, because folks seem to be having trouble accessing the one at Monstertown sometimes. So since the system seems to be working in electronic format, we are going to be making that available in both the tavern and at Monstertown. We are working to replace the legacy skills and the warrior tree system. We just aren't happy with the way it jives with the other rules, our base rule system. We feel like there were a lot of goals that the skill system and the warrior tree were attempting to meet that could potentially be done a different way. And so we don't have that replacement ready to go live yet, but to prevent folks from getting wrapped up in additional legacies and legacy skills and warrior tree skills that we're just going to have to rework after. Hopefully we'll have it. Well, we should have it ready by the end of the season to go live before March. So we are going to freeze those programs. So anything that you have, you can still access and use, but no new purchases will be made. And so that means that for mentors and mentees, you guys can continue to have your relationships, but we won't be swapping any build or doing anything like that for the legacy system for the last half of the year. And then for new player boarding house, the new player team has been amazing about trying these new changes. But given the level of new player population and some conversations we've had and our great new social media team, we feel like some of the elements like the in-play lectures on Sunday would be better served to be put in a video or an out-of-play resource that people can access as needed rather than trying to have them in play. So the boarding house as an entity is going to continue, but some of the other elements around it are changing a little bit. But we do appreciate everybody that supported that and been willing to give it a shot this year. So any questions about those changes?
And just for everyone in the chat, we had the question of how does that affect warrior skill tree stuff purchased at the end of last event? And Chris already responded, you get the skills you purchased from last event, but I wanted to say it aloud for everyone.
Yes. Yeah, it's just a freeze for the future. So, any other questions? All right, thank you.
All right, Daryl, rules.
All right, so we'll just walk through this real quickly. Just some general notes first. It's a 270, 80-page document. There are inevitably going to be typographical, grammatical errors, so we corrected those where we found them. I am sure there are still others. I do math for a living, writing, so there's probably going to be a lot. Also, beginning of the season, we removed the evaluate item skill from the game, but it was still on the skill reference chart, so that has just been removed from that reference chart. As much as Kevin loves all of you, he was referenced as the person to contact for 401k, character 401k information. That has just been changed to the logistics email, which is the correct point of contact moving forward. We also removed all references to the paperclip system since the game has moved away from that. It was just really, everyone that's been to Shadowmoor knows we've moved away from that. It was just a potential point of confusion for new players whose first experience with the game was the rulebook. Finally, probably the biggest sort of general rule correction change edit is there's been some conflicting terminology around the to-build blue tag skills. They were listed as both craft skills and roleplay only skills. So due to that different terminology throughout the document, as well as the potential confusion around the term craft skill with the new crafting playtest that everyone seems to really be getting excited about. So just to erase any confusion there and clean up everything, we have retitled these skills as trade skills throughout the document. Aside from the name change, they are 100% unchanged as far as what they allow you to do and not do in play. All right, moving on. I've got the screen at full screen, so if any questions come in, somebody else can either answer or shout, and I'll jump in. For player character races, we clarified and included in writing that all player characters may purchase the racial lore for their respective race at character creation for the standard build cost. So if you are making a new character and you're playing a Sampan, you can buy Sampan lore for 2 gold. You don't have to have a teacher, there's no gold cost involved. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. And Magic and spellcasting, again, just a clarification here with regards to specialty columns. We both clarified and updated language around the voluntary removal of specialty column, and I'll stress this is only if you choose to change your specialty column. If that situation were to occur, the player does not take a 10% build penalty. However, we are now instituting that you may only respecialize once per calendar year. The example in the quick reference document, if Dave the Druid drops his Druid column so that he can become a healer on All Hallows and cast Destroy Undeads, he cannot respecialize his now healer column for one calendar year. That does not mean specialty columns cannot still be lost through your action or inaction during the game. They absolutely can, and the ability to return to that lost specialty column must still be attained in play. Other spellcasting change, and this is not really a change, this is a correction. At the beginning of the year, we did some changes to the numerical healing and damage of certain spells. The reference chart did not get updated correctly, so the reference chart has been updated now to reflect those numerical values. And the short version of that is cures and causes are now level times 5, and healing and inflict is now level times 10, and elemental blast is a flat 100. Production, first the corrections. Vorpal coatings, the cost was listed. The cost for the Vorpal coating was listed incorrectly in one spot. What is on the sheets on site has been correct, so that has been corrected, and it's now a uniform cost throughout the document. Production change, this is specific to alchemy. The cost of the Cure 2 elixir and gas recipes production has been increased. Elixirs now have a production point cost of 2, and gas is a production point cost of 4. And finally, with production, this is specific to scrolls and potions. As part of the spell consolidation that we implemented at the beginning of the year, there were some spells that were erroneously listed as available or not available. The one that I remember is that you could have a Drain Life potion for some reason. So we just went through and did an audit of those and corrected. So what is in the rulebook now has been updated. Jesse already mentioned the Warrior Skill Tree and Legacy Skill Systems are currently under review. We're undergoing some significant revisions in advance of 2024. So the current systems are suspended for the remainder of the year. As we've already answered, anybody that currently has or has bought abilities at the last event will have those. We'll have access to those throughout the rest of the year, and we will intend to implement something in between seasons for launch in 2024. We've been working hard on this for a while. I'm not gonna let anybody peek behind the curtain too much, but I will say there is a lot of really cool stuff being discussed. I think a lot more players are going to be able to get involved, and a lot more folks, even those that currently have the warrior skill or the legacy skills, are really going to like some of the changes. The last rules change or adjustment is with regards to formal magic. The chart in the rulebook, it did the typical Excel thing and rounded up when the value was supposed to be rounded up, and in Shadowmoor we always round down. So I have corrected those. So not every value was affected, but those that were have been corrected. And that is it for major rules changes for me.
Awesome. I think those were our big things, right? Do we have anything else to go over, systems, COVIDs, or rules, before I turn it over to first Jesse for any comments, and then Chris as our head of storytelling for one comment? Awesome. Jesse, anything else you want to reinforce or talk about?
No, I just want to say thank you to everybody. I know that we've been making a lot more mid-season adjustments or in-season adjustments than is typical for the game, but we really appreciate everybody being open to trying out the new things, and especially revolving around logistical processes and things. So thank you for being open. Thank you for being receptive. We appreciate it. And thank you for your feedback in the surveys. Those have been absolutely critical about deciding whether we continue or we keep certain elements or we drop things, especially when it comes to COVID.
Yes, for sure. All right, Chris, you want to take us home?
Take us home. All right. Thanks everyone for coming. I'll try to make this short and sweet, like me, because I'm short and sometimes sweet. A few hours ago, we posted our mid-year storyboard from the Storyteller and Steering Committee crew. If you haven't gotten a chance to read it, please go and do so. All of us, staff and storytellers, put a good amount of editing and story creation work into it, and tied a few things together. The TLDR of that storyboard is the last story that starts with a massive dragon, larger than you've ever seen, ripping itself into our reality, calling forth all of the dragons that y'all have been interacting with all year, and swarming on a titan that emerged out of the ocean, and basically, after a few hours of battle, killing that titan, which is not a thing that has been done since the last cataclysm, which I believe was the elemental cataclysm. Century passed. Wow, right? That is a lot going on. I'm not gonna, Dragon 1, Tiger 0, thanks a lot. So y'all have put a ton of effort the past year and change into this dragon plotline. That being the certain crew that went and grabbed the dragon eggs from where they came from, and getting them hatched and getting them raised up just a little bit. I've noticed from talking to all of my storytellers and staff that have their own NPC dragons that y'all have done so much to give those dragons personalities of their own. Your actions, whether that was to be nice to the dragon or terrible to the dragon, or maybe give a dragon egg to someone that you were not originally going to give it to, have all affected the game world in a very profound way. And that is awesome. I love to see it. Please keep it up. Now that I've dropped there's a dead titan and a huge great world dragon bearing down on you, there are going to be some more choices that are going to have to be made. And we all kind of want to go ahead and tell you now that September is when those choices are going to have to actually be made. And please send your emails out, get your contacts and your NPCs, try to get that, information, do what you do. And you'll find out more. And then we'll become very transparent with that information the next several weeks. And y'all will get all the information you need from that. But just know that in September, please try to come to a pretty outstanding event, because you're going to have some very serious world choices that are going to affect years worth of game coming up. That's really all I have for you. Don't want to overhype anything, but next couple months are going to be super impactful for Shadowmoor as a whole. All right, that's it. I'll stop talking. Happy to answer any questions. Big thank you to staff and storytellers and the plot team this year for making all this happen.
There's a question that says, have the circles been revised?
Amanda, I think you should probably take that one.
Yeah, so I think those who have circles know that we've been looking at making some tweaks to those too. So we got some feedback from some folks on that, which was great, and we are still reviewing. I think you should see what we've got planned in play and go from there in the upcoming months. So short answer, not quite yet, but long answer, soon.
And when it happens, you'll know.
Your answer was so much better than mine, Amanda.
I like yours, Olivia. Plus, you leveled up.
That's what I do.
What else do we have for questions?
A couple folks are typing, so there might be one or two coming. But if you have questions, now's the chance to give her.
Yes, Sebastian, because let's see, concern the storyboard. Do we know about the third stories or just what we saw in the skies? No. Typically, whenever we do big storyboards like that, we do a, you saw Division, you saw 3, you are aware of those stories and what went down, either through, you heard it from a friend, you got a dream, you got a vision. Either way you want to take that is perfectly fine. Let's see, Evan, is the body of the Titan just laying in the ocean? Can we see it from docksides? No, it is not like floating atop in the water. I mean, a Titan is, hundreds, if not thousands of feet tall. I mean, like they're Godzilla gargantuan size. So he fell down in the deep ocean somewhere, and you are not able to see his body from the surface. And he did not die like near-ish docksides either. How much does a hand weigh, Adam? A lot.
I think that's like how many Tootsie Rolls how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll? How much does a hand weigh?
I guess I'll go ahead and throw out there, since we're about dragons. Obviously, some of y'all have been going and visiting and role playing with some of those dragons. Those you are likely to not find those dragons during the August event, since they are now hanging out with their big mama up in the sky, doing what they do. So I will go ahead and save you the email for I'm trying to find my dragon. Yeah, Zach, the other dragon ones also went up into the sky with her. You might get a glimpse of a random dragonling flying around for a few minutes, and then they go off somewhere else. The point being, they're very hard to track where they will be. Connor, does having knowledge dragons provide additional information on what good is happening? Possibly, Connor. Send me a body map. Let's see, Nick, about what time did the Titan fight happen? Like earlier in the break or a couple days ago? I'm gonna go with it happened right about now or before the event. So the ending of that storyboard was a lot of tsunamis and tidal waves and allegedly hundreds or if not thousands of people dying because they were in coastal towns or on islands. So that is going to be nice and fresh. So a catastrophic incident has just happened. Great question, Edmund. How are the conflict reacting? Are people on the streets freaking out? Yes, absolutely. People in the streets are freaking out. Not just the folks that live on the coast or islands or on Nansho or whatever, who just got hit by like tidal waves. This is a once in many lifetimes event. I mean, yeah, exactly, Sebastian. The end is nigh. Like folks have heard about cataclysms before. It's fairly common knowledge that every cataclysm that has occurred has happened due to the death of the Titan on Amaroth. And while that has not happened in centuries or maybe millennia, I forgot exactly what we say for years for that. Like life as we know it could change. Hundreds of thousands of people could die. It is absolutely super, super serious. And y'all should definitely expect some of that epic feel to be charging up very soon. Just judging from all of your guess, I guess we all get the point. So Sebastian asks, so as big as the Star King level danger? Yes, at least as big as the Star King level danger. And certainly the Star King happened at a much slower pace versus a dragon just came in and then 5 minutes later decided to kill off the whole Titan. Oh yeah. At least Star King level, if not bigger. Let's see. Jacob asks, how's the Eastern Continent doing? They definitely had some effects from tidal waves. Otherwise, not much. I believe there may have been a dragon over yonder who they saw flying over the ocean toward their mother as well. So that dragon is also left.
All right.
Yep.
Cool. Well, if any other questions pop in, then please send them our way. If you haven't done your in-between action and you suddenly now want to do an action, feel free to send that into Plat, although I think the deadline might actually be today. But otherwise, I'm sure Plot has a lot of fantastic things to do in the upcoming event, and are looking forward to working this into. I mean, they've already worked this into their stories and what your actions are going to be from this.
Until Tuesday, Amanda. Emails are good till Tuesday.
Oh, till Tuesday. So yeah, it's still normal rules. If you've already done your in between, you can't do something else. But yeah, if you suddenly see this and want to send something in, go for it. You have till Tuesday. We did have, that's a great question. Do we have that pinned somewhere or in the rules still where we find the in-between rules?
I mean, aside from on here, I don't know, but that sounds like a Jillian question.
I believe, I'm double checking so I'm not a big liar, but there should be a resource guide on the first event or what is Shadow. We could probably just search for between events and see if we can find something. If not, let me know and I will get something up to that.
Yes, and Chris did say there's a file in Facebook, but if it is not on our website or somewhere else, we'll, like Jillian said, we'll get it there too. All right. Jesse to the rescue right there. All right, my friends, we are so excited to see you guys this Friday somehow already. And if anything changes, please reach out to us. If you have more questions, reach out to us. Otherwise, we're so excited to be very hot and sweaty with you in August.
Yay!
Bye.
Yes. Have a great night.
Thanks, everybody.
She does all my posting for me, Sebastian. That's why she's higher level.